Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my predictions for our game against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park tonight. So score prediction, I'm going to go with 2-0 to Manchester United. And the goal scorers, I'm going to go with Marcus Rashford and Daniel James. This is a must-win game for Manchester United tonight. We're coming into this game on the back of a 0-0 draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It wasn't the worst result, but I was disappointed with the result because we needed to beat Chelsea. The VAR penalty decision was the talking point of that game. It was a penalty because it hit Callum Hudson-Odoi's hand. He was in a tussle with Mason Greenwood. Solskjaer gave his perception on it and he said it was a 100% nailed on penalty. But VAR overturned the penalty. But it was a boring game. There was some chances in it. Fred had a couple of chances for us. McTominay had a good chance, produced a good save from Mendy. Rashford had a good chance from a free kick again, produced a good save from Mendy. Chelsea had the better of the chances though. The best chance of the game was from Hakim Ziyech, produced a very good save from David De Gea. Giroud, he had two fantastic chances. But we knew it was going to be a tough game against Chelsea because Chelsea are doing very, very well under Thomas Tuchel. They have not yet lost under Thomas Tuchel. But I'm expecting us to win tonight. We've got a very, very good record at Selhurst Park. We've won our last 4 league games at Selhurst Park. We won this fixture last season 2-0. But Palace beat us on the opening day of this season at Old Trafford 3-1. They also beat us at Old Trafford last season 2-1. So Palace are looking to do the league double over us for the first time ever. Crystal Palace recently drew 0-0 with Fulham. They are sitting 13th in the Premier League. We're like 17 points ahead of them. Crystal Palace's current manager is Roy Hodgson. Roy Hodgson has been Crystal Palace manager now for quite a few years. I'm surprised he's still managing. He's old. He's managed quite a lot of clubs in his managerial career. Like I said to you on the preview, Crystal Palace have got quite a few injuries. Obviously, Wilfried Zaha, he's been out with injury, and Wilfried Zaha is one of their key players. Don't forget, he's a former Man United player, but he left us because he didn't get his opportunities. They've also got Jordan Ayew, who's a good player. They've got Christian Benteke, Andros Townsend's quite good for them. Patrick Van Aanholt's quite good. They've also got Batshuayi, they got him on loan from Chelsea. Connor Wickham, I think, is he now returning from injury? James Tompkins, I think he's also out with injury. Sacco, he's another player that's been out with injury. Jeffrey Schlupp, he's recently been out with injury. James McArthur, he's also another player that's been out with injury for Palace. So there you go. Hennessy, he's another one that's been out with injury. So they've had quite a lot of injuries of Crystal Palace. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say in his press conference building up to this game that he's hoping Edinson Cavani will be available. He said Edinson Cavani has been in training, which is good news. Edinson Cavani's been a big miss for us. He's missed our last 4 games with a muscle injury. Cavani has made a fantastic impact since he come to Manchester United. You know, his hold-up play is very, very good. His movement in and out of the box is good. He creates chances and he scores goals. Cavani's already said that he wants to stay at Manchester United for next season. Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Cavani is set for contract extension talks. We got Cavani on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. Obviously, Phil Jones is still sidelined. Jones doesn't get in the team anyway. Jones has been out with injury for over a year. Yet Solskjaer did provide us with some news on Paul Pogba. You know, he says Paul Pogba is getting better, but he hasn't been training. By the way, Solskjaer has set a new Paul Pogba return date. Solskjaer's hoping Paul Pogba will return before the March international break. Paul Pogba has got a thigh injury at the moment. The last game he played was a 3-3 draw with Everton. But Paul Pogba has been a big miss because we do lack quality in that midfield without Paul Pogba. In recent months, Paul Pogba's done very, very well, obviously before he got this injury. Earlier on this season, he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Now, there was narratives coming out recently saying that Paul Pogba is open to staying at Manchester United after making a transfer U-turn. And he's willing to discuss a new contract. Now, Solskjaer suggested earlier on this season that Paul Pogba could sign a new contract, and Solskjaer said that he's happy at the club. It actually said back in January that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the 2nd time. Mino Raiola is desperate to get his client out of the football club in the summer. Mino Raiola's been criticised a few times. He doesn't have a good relationship with Man United. He did say not so long ago that he's got no intentions of destabilising Paul Pogba's season at Man United. He made an admission as well, saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. He made an admission back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. But Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. It said a few weeks ago that we revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba, and it was £100 million. Matthias Pogba said earlier on this season that we should sell Pogba in the summer if we are to get the money, because he did say he could leave for nothing next year and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. We've got a massive game on Sunday. We are away to Manchester City at the Etihad. A lot of United fans, including me, are not expecting us to get anything from that game. Manchester City have won 21 straight games in all competitions. Manchester City are the champions-elect. They're on course to win their 5th Premier League title. They've won 4 Premier League titles at the moment. Obviously 2 have come under Pep Guardiola. Obviously they won one under Manuel Pellegrini and they won one under Roberto Mancini. Manchester City are 15 points in front of us. And after Manchester City, it is AC Milan in the last 16 of the Europa League. That's going to be another tough game. And after that, it's West Ham. Our aim is the top 4. And despite us drawing with Chelsea recently, I can almost assure that we will finish in the top 4. It would be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4. I don't think we're going to win a title under Ole, to be honest with you, and I think a lot of Man United fans will agree with me on that aspect. Solskjaer did actually say after our 3-1 win against Newcastle that we're still in the title race. He said the exact same thing after our 1-1 draw with West Brom, but that's just Solskjaer playing mind games. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. Solskjaer's got to win a trophy as Man United manager to avoid the sack. And the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy and the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. Like I've already said to you, Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Manchester United. But I think he does deserve at least until May. And then in May, the club will decide whether Solskjaer gets at least another season or not. He probably will get another season, to be honest with you. Or he may get summer next season. He may not see all next season out. It depends on how things go. Told you, my biggest concern about Solskjaer is his decision making because he's tactically naive, especially in the big games. Okay, there's some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but he's got to show tactical flexibility persistently. And Man United fans and ex-players slammed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics. We have really struggled against the top 6 sides this season. In the vast majority of the games against the top sides, we've failed to score. But if we was to sack Solskjaer, who would come in to replace him? That's the question, because there is no one available at the moment. You know, we've endured very bad periods under Ole, where he was looking not to be sacked. So we actually do deserve credit for sticking with him. We've also enjoyed good periods under him as well, where we've actually been very consistent. There's even been some games where he's got the best out of the team and he's improved certain players. But it's no good just seeing it in some periods. We've got to see consistency persistently under Ole. You know, you've got to give Ole credit in some aspects. You know, he's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals, got us to the EFL Cup last 16. No, Europa League, last 16. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to Man City. You know, did well last season in his first full season at the club. Guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us 3rd. He has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. And, you know, he has made some good signings. Obviously hasn't got all the players that I wanted to recommend in as yet. And in that aspect, the blame stems from the board. But the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. Reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson retired, and Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ollie, and he did say towards the end of last year that he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. You know, Solskjaer so far has endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. A lot of Man United fans have said that we did give Solskjaer the job too soon. With the main explanation we're giving the job permanently back in March 2019 was reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Solskjaer has been Man United manager now over 2 years. Reflecting now on he's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience, but he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager, so that's another one of my concerns about him. Is Solskjaer in a position that he shouldn't be in? Will Solskjaer sign a new contract at the end of the season? You know, if he does, it doesn't mean he's going to see it out. The last time I read up, it said Solskjaer's future is in doubt, because he admitted that he's still waiting to open talks over a new contract. But he said we'll wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Ole. And it says we could offer him a new 2-year deal. Solskjaer is into the final 18 months of his current contract. We've got a very, very good away record as well in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. So that's good. Like I updated you on my recent video, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has sent a transfer warning to our fans. Saying that we may not do business as usual in the summer transfer window due to the coronavirus pandemic. So, won't be spending big. And I did say, didn't I, this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. Solskjaer did actually say not so long ago that he's only interested in bringing in players that would be a perfect fit for the club. A centre-back and a forward are the 2 priorities. And there has been a lot of players on our agenda. You've got Jadon Sancho, that's on our agenda. You've got Erling Haaland, that's on our agenda. You've got Raphael Varane, that's on our agenda. Jules Koundé, he's been on our agenda as well. We're also going to offload more players in the summer. If we do, we'll raise money and that'll help us with our rebuilding process. Like I've said to you, good chance Juan Mata will leave. A lot of United fans have said Martial should leave. Matic could leave. I want Jones to leave. Solskjaer said a few weeks ago that he's prepared to sell either De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. A lot of United fans have said as well we need to offload Victor Lindelof. So yeah. But I've got to say to you, there's a lot of players that have really, really improved at Manchester United. Dean Henderson's done well in the games he's played in this season. Like I've said, I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number 1 because he's got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with the club. The other week, Henderson threatened to quit Man United if he's not assured the number 1 role. We revealed our asking price, it was £40 million. Solskjaer admitted earlier on this season that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. Luke Shaw, he's really improved as well. Luke Shaw's getting forward well, he's getting into good positions, he's putting good crosses into the box. Defensively he's been very good and still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Because when we got Telles, I expected him to be our first choice left back, but Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected. But one point he did have COVID. But revert back to what I said about Luke Shaw. Yeah, he's been doing well. He's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. Shaw's been at the club over 6 years now. And Wan-Bissaka, he's done very well. In some games this season where he's actually got forward well, he's got into good positions, he's put good crosses into the box, and defensively, and Wan-Bissaka's been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's 2nd full season at the club. Bay, I've been very impressed with him in the games he's played in. Bay and Maguire complement each other fantastically well in our back line. Bay intercepts the ball well, he shows that ability to play out from the back, can be effective in the air, but my element of concern about Bay is too injury prone, so in that aspect, he is a liability, Eric Bay. Fred, he's really improving. In some games he's got forward really well, his passing's been good, he's broke up the play well. Fred's been in the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I've got to say, Fred was a world-class player during his time in Ukraine. Like I said, we've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba in recent months before he got that thigh injury. Donny van de Beek's also a good player when he plays, but Donny van de Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. He was recently injured as well, wasn't he, Van de Beek? Solskjaer promised him earlier on this season more game time because Solskjaer made an admission regarding Van de Beek earlier on this season, and he did say Van de Beek is unhappy at the club because of his lack of game time. He needs more chances, he can play in 3 different roles, and we got him in a deal worth £40 million. Scott McTominay, he's a decent player and he has enjoyed good games this season. McTominay's not at the level as we want him to be at yet, but I think he can emulate into that level. McTominay has been part of the club for several years. Bruno Fernandes, he's a very good player. He's our best player and he's the best signing we have made since Ferguson retired. In most of his games at Man United, Fernandes has been very consistent, but there again there's been a few games where he has looked off the pace. We've definitely overplayed him, but Fernandes said earlier on this season that he denies that he needs a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. Fernandes has won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Bruno Fernandes said on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Manchester United. He's got a contract with the club till 2025. We initially paid £47 million for him in January of last year, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over £67 million. He predominantly plays as number 10. Mason Greenwood, I think he's very good. He's done well since he's broke into our first team squad. made his debut back in 2019. Been at United since the age of 7. He's made 80-odd first-team appearances and he's done well recently despite scoring. Not so long ago, Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with Man United. He deserved a new contract though, reflecting on his good performances. Ollie's been defending him a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Greenwood because he was in and out of the team. The start of this season, we give him that number 11 shirt. You know, you've got Marcus Rashford, that's very good. He's obviously had his bad periods, but still very, very good player. We'll just need to keep Marcus Rashford out on the left because that's where he's more effective. Sometimes we put Rashford on the right and sometimes we play him up top. I don't like Rashford though up top. Rashford has been part of the club for several years. Amad Diallo Traore, like I said, he looks a very, very good asset for the first team squad. He's already made his debut for the first team. But Amad Diallo Traore had been doing very, very well for the under-23s. Like I said, Cavani's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. So we've got good players there. And that current squad is good enough to finish at least in the top 4. But it's not good enough to win the league as yet. Like I've said to you, we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired. And no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did. And no one's going to last as long as Ferguson did. You know, Ferguson endured a 27-year tenure at Man United and obviously brought success to the club. But since Ferguson retired, we've sacked 3 managers. That was Moyes, Van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. We've also spent £1 billion on players. Or just over £1 billion on players. And we've brought around 37 players in the last, 7.5, 8 years. Mistakes have been made as well since Ferguson retired. And that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been so consistent. But I still believe that Ollie needs more time. Because obviously when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame stemmed from him. Some of the blame obviously stems from him. But yeah, we'll see what happens tonight anyway. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.